Hello, I'm Barry Shore, Professor Emeritus at the University of New Hampshire and Director of Product Development here at SSGI. Projects deliver the organization's plans to create new systems, improve the performance of existing ones, and better compete in the marketplace. For this reason, projects and those who manage them are often at the very center of the organization's competitive strategy. This guide will introduce you to the basics of project management. It is written for all professionals who work in a project environment, from healthcare to manufacturing, assembly, and service. Most importantly, it follows the methodology and terminology of the Project Management Institute's body of knowledge, BOK. A project can be defined as a sequence of related tasks that focus on an established objective. They have a definite beginning and end, are constrained by budgets and resources, and must meet quality or performance standards. Further, they are temporary in that they do not continue for an indefinite period of time. Project management involves both an understanding of process groups and the development of skills in what we call knowledge areas. First, we turn to process groups. Any project follows 5 process groups. Projects are initiated, they are planned and executed. Progress is monitored and controlled. Finally, the project is closed. While the implication is that project management is linear and these groups are undertaken sequentially, this is not necessarily the case, as a later group such as executing may return to the planning group when problems with execution occur. Work within these process groups must be managed. According to the body of knowledge defined by the Project Management Institute, managers must develop 10 skills called knowledge areas. They represent the critical knowledge and skills needed to effectively manage work as it moves through these process groups. First is integration management. It focuses on bringing together the tens, hundreds, or thousands of individual tasks that define a complete project. Scope management assures that the project delivers what it is expected to deliver. Schedule, or time management, addresses the delivery of project outcomes within given time constraints. Cost management ensures that costs throughout the project remain under control and within budget. Quality management focuses on the need for each step as well as the final outcome to meet quality standards. In resources management, the project manager must ensure that resources, both physical and human, are available when they are needed and where they are needed. A critical knowledge area is the ability to communicate across all project stakeholders and ensure stakeholder engagement. It is critical because without communication, integration can be difficult or impossible to achieve. Every project is exposed to risk, and it is the project manager's responsibility to mitigate the possibility that these risks can interfere with project progress. Procurement management involves the responsibility to ensure that those items needed to complete the project are available. The last knowledge area is stakeholder management. It focuses on the project manager's role to keep those with a stake in the project informed and engaged across its entire life cycle. Behind these knowledge areas are several commonly used concepts and tools. Here are a few: project charter, requirements gathering, work breakdown structure, schedules, budgets, earned value method, and risk. We will now consider each of these separately. Perhaps the most important part of the project, created during the initiation phase, is the project charter. According to the project management body of knowledge, the project charter is a document that formally authorizes a project or a phase of a project and documents requirements and stakeholder needs and expectations. It is important because a poorly conceived project charter is very likely to deliver a poor project result. The project charter therefore becomes a contract between those responsible for delivering the project and those to whom the project will be delivered. It needs to address the competitive environment and then establish a business case, sometimes called a project statement, justifying the time and expenses that the new project will incur. As the project moves into the planning phase, the two most important issues that need to be addressed include requirements and scope. Requirements are the features that define the end result. They are defined by the end user, client, or customer. For example, a requirement for the redesign of the customer application form for a new auto insurance policy must automatically populate the name and address fields from other documents in the company's files. Scope addresses what will be done, but even more importantly, what will not be done. So scope defines project boundaries. For example, when designing a new system to shorten the time it takes an insurance company to process insurance claims, the project may be limited to routine claims, while non-routine claims will be left to a later project. As part of the planning stage, we build a work breakdown structure, or WBS. It can be described as an inverted hierarchical chart, sometimes described as an inverted tree, that displays increasing levels of detail for all the tasks in the project. It illustrates what has to be done. There is a direct link between the WBS and the project scope. A WBS is created from the scope statement, but the WBS will reflect in greater detail exactly which tasks are included and which ones are not included in the project. Here is an example of a work breakdown structure for the design of a new website. The tasks at the bottom must be completed before those above it can be started, so the overall layout and content must be completed before final design can begin. At the top is the finished product. Schedules tell us when activities will begin and when they are expected to be completed. And most importantly, they tell us when the entire project should be finished. In project management, a schedule is often referred to as a network. When it is displayed graphically, it is called a project network diagram. It displays the logical sequence of activities from the beginning of a project through to its end. Here is a very simple example of a schedule for the implementation of a new assembly operation for a robotic company that makes automated warehouse systems. Activity A determines product requirements. Activity B is the selection of vendors and purchase of new equipment. Activity C is assembly process design, and Activity D is training for frontline workers. Note that activities B and C can only begin when their predecessor, A, has been completed. Training cannot begin until B and C have been completed. Here is a network diagram for this project. Notice the diagram clearly illustrates the precedent relationships between activities. So activity B follows activity A, and activity D must be preceded by activities B and C. Because it is visual, the network is easier to follow than depicting the schedule as a table. Budgets often dominate the management process. They are instrumental in justifying the project by comparing the budget with expected benefits, and they are instrumental during the monitoring and control phase of the project. Budgets then become essential control mechanisms. When actual expenditures exceed budgeted amounts, steps are taken to uncover the root cause of the problem and hopefully protect the remaining steps from budget overruns. Indeed, there is a well-deserved sense of satisfaction when projects are delivered on schedule and within budget. The Earned Value Method, EVM, is a technique used during the monitoring and control phase to compare schedule times with progress to date and to also compare budget targets with actual costs to date. Both are used to determine if projects are on schedule. It is a widely used approach that has been credited with contributing to the improvement of project control and project success, and as such has become an integral part of the monitoring and controlling process. Project risk is the risk associated with the ability to successfully execute a project as defined in the work breakdown structure. It is the risk associated with meeting the schedule, completing tasks within budget, assuring that quality outcomes are met, and delivering project requirements. A risk breakdown structure is used to systematically identify and evaluate project risk. It helps to explore 4 categories: technical, external, organizational, and project management risk. Once the sources of risk are identified and evaluated, steps are then taken to reduce them. It is a process called risk mitigation. Here is an example of a risk breakdown structure for the robot project. If you have found the material in this guide interesting and useful, you might consider becoming professionally qualified in project management. There are several choices. The first is taking courses that will prepare you for the Project Management Institute's certification exam. While PMI certification is often referred to as the industry standard, the requirements that must be met can be difficult to achieve, and the details that must be mastered to pass the exam are considerable. Another alternative is to take an intermediate level course requiring less time commitment. It may be a consideration for at least 2 reasons. First, it can serve as an introduction to the project management body of knowledge. Second, it may be taken as a terminal certification for those who are involved in the project process but do not find it necessary to make the commitment required for the full PMI course and PMP certification. You probably have 2 questions in mind. How difficult is the intermediate level course, and how long will it take? The answer depends upon several factors. First, it depends upon where you begin. Once you have completed this guide, you are already well on your way, and the full intermediate level course offered by SSGI is no more difficult than this guide. The full course, including the certification exam, should take less than 1 month, as long as you are willing to put in a few hours each evening. To accommodate your busy schedule, both the course and certification exam are online and can be accessed at your convenience. In addition to this course, SSGI also offers a range of courses in process management and leadership. For more information, click below.